Okay, hello everyone. I normally don't do two videos in one day, but given that Pine Power LI's been complaining about a couple of things that have been going on his end in Long Island recently, and yeah, I mean, we get compared a lot. Oh, you two whine and complain so much, but listen, we have reasons to do it. And obviously, because there's, stuff that happened in Long Island, but we need to talk about my neck of the woods in Queens. And specifically because tomorrow is the committee meetings and the board meetings coming up this week. I just want to acknowledge that I will not be speaking at them this month, virtually or in person. I am trying to focus on stuff at work that I really don't want to talk about. So that's why, hence, we're doing this video today, because there's a couple of match transit stories specifically that have been getting ignored here in Queens. And honestly, look, I'm happy that they covered the mechanic that was found dead. And that was, very unfortunate story. Yeah, I do want to read this one. I know it's not transit related, but yeah, there was a Murray Hill hit and run on Northern Boulevard, which actually did impact service on the Q12 and the Q13 buses. So let's. Oh yeah, I've been to this area numerous times. I was just there in February. Murray Hill. Let's read this. This heavily impacted bus service, believe it or not, happened on Monday. No, it happened last Friday. Okay, let's read this, and then we'll get to the other stories that we're going to talk about. And the last one is actually a feel-good one, because there might be one little benefit of congestion pricing that we're going to talk about towards the end. But anyhow, let's read what happened here on Northern Boulevard back on March 14th. So according to the 109 precinct, a 78-year-old woman was trying to cross a cross stretch on Northern Boulevard near Parsons Boulevard just before 9:40 p.m. when she was hit by a possible gray minivan. Further investigation by the Highway District Collision Squad determined that the senior was crossing mid-block. Oh no. Was she trying to cross the middle of the street? See, this is why I tell people, Northern Boulevard, you can't do that. You can't try to jaywalk on Northern, because this is what's going to happen. I've told people numerous times outside of Oslam Hall, you can't do that. So that's what she probably did. She tried to illegally cross the street without being cautious. Because whenever I've done that, I try to be aware of my surroundings. I've done it before. But that's only when a car is not on Northern. And that's a rare occurrence. Or sometimes you get lucky during rush hour and the traffic is a standstill on Northern Boulevard thanks to the LIE and Grand Central Road work. But this happened at 9:40 at night. So imagine how good the traffic flow was moving at that time, especially on a Friday night. So it says that as she was trying to jaywalk, because she was clearly jaywalking, so the minivan crashed into the pedestrian. Yeah, this was a hit and run. Obvious. The victim was taken to Booth Memorial Medical Center, where she was later pronounced dead. I'm sorry, I can't call it New York Presbyterian, because my mentor at ARC, he always called it Booth Memorial. Like, that's why I'm going to keep calling it Booth Memorial. When I was, long time ago as an environmental services worker, but later on it was confirmed that the victim was identified as an Asian female named Jung Sung-un. She lived in an apartment building on 158th Street at the corner of Station Road, nearly a mile away from the crime scene. Obviously, no arrest. What I want to know, and I was on the Q13 2 months ago, so I'm wondering, when I was on the way to Flushing Main Street for the MTA board meeting at Grand Central, I'm wondering, I don't think there were any cameras in this area. Now, if this happened at Franny Lou and Northern, guarantee you the 111 would have attained the traffic footage. They would have. And by the way, my 911 complaint about the road rage incident never got filled that I saw a couple months ago. So there you go. I mean, this was a serious incident. Guaranteed you there are cameras. Anybody has any camera footage, I would suggest to go to the 109 and turn it in. I mean, it would really help out the investigation because everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has this or that. I mean, the 109 precinct's in downtown Flushing. So, let's get on to our next story here. Because, again, this did impact service on the 14th. There was a little bit of traffic in the area. But I wanted to read that because the media ignored it. And then we're going to read this one. 2 suspects wanted for attacking an 81-year-old aboard a Q66 bus in East Elmhurst. So when did this happen? March 8th. This incident occurred as the bus was on Northern Boulevard near 108th Street in East Elmhurst. So this is literally the border of East Elmhurst and Corona. Not too far from where the Whitestone Expressway is. So the bus was going... Wait, what? They don't even mention what direction the bus was going in. Was it going towards Flushing or is this a Long Island City bus? They don't mention that. 2 strangers approached the 81-year-old victim, an elderly gentleman, and without speaking a word, they proceeded to spit on him and then kick him repeatedly in the face. So obviously, the suspects got away. The driver probably let them off, probably for everyone's safety. So the victim was taken to Booth Memorial, where he was listed in stable condition. Oh, so we do have a suspect description. Good. Let's play the video. Hopefully these guys can get caught. So one wore a dark winter jacket with fur-lined hood over a gray sweatshirt and blue jeans. The other wore a black winter jacket, black pants, and a beige backpack. So let's just quickly look at this. Yeah, Melinda Katz, I really hope you're paying attention to this. Because if these guys do get apprehended, when they show up to your courthouse on Queens Boulevard and Kew Gardens, you need to throw the book at them. Now, again, I'll give the media credit for covering that sex offender a couple of days ago. But still, I mean, this is one of the ignored stories that have just got me so mad lately. It's not just New York One that I'm mad with, but the other channels too. And then let's get to our last 2 stories. We're going to talk about the last bad, but we actually have some good news in Hollis. So we'll get into that in just a bit. So, let's get into this. Oh boy, my 7 train. What's going on with my 7 train lately? What's going on with my project that went very well? And by the way, not to make anything political here, but if it wasn't for Charles Schumer, you do realize the 7 train wouldn't be running every 5 to 8 minutes, right? Yeah, guys, remember? That was me. I was on TV 5 years ago when I said, one thing's for sure, I'm not going to wait long for a bus or a subway. Well, the bus situation hasn't improved, but at least the subway situation improved. So, again, I'm going to keep saying, thank you, President Biden. Thank you, Senator Schumer, and thank you, Speaker Pelosi. Well, former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Because, again, I don't like to brag, but remember, I actually was able to cross party lines and get federal funding to finish the CBTC installation. So anyhow, what's going on with my 7 line? Because this is awful what I have to read about. Okay. So, in the past week, we've had a couple of incidents that we need to get into. This was published back on the 18th, right? So let's just start off with last week. We've had 3 incidents the week of March 10th. A man was killed while he was jumping in front of a 34th Street Hudson Yards bound train at the 103rd Street Corona Plaza station on Thursday afternoon, and a 13-year-old boy was critically injured while subway surfing. And then apparently, a man took his own life. So let's read this. The incident occurred. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on here. Right, this is the other incident that occurred on March 18th? No, this was March 18th. Right, okay. Right, okay. So that's happened. Early morning hours of Tuesday, March 18th, 2:20 a.m., 111th Street, Corona Plaza 111th Street Station. The MTA motorman on board the train told officers that he saw a 24-year-old man on the edge of the Manhattan-bound platform with open arms who proceeded to fall backwards in front of the train. So look at that. The operator tried to pull the throttle on board because, again, I know somebody very well in transit. I wouldn't do it, but you know how long it takes to pull that throttle when you're the motorman? It's very hard to slow down the train. I've heard it from them. They've dealt with those very unfortunate circumstances, and unfortunately, this is one of those not too often, things that these motormen and women have to deal with. Sadly, the man was found underneath the 7 train, conscious and alert. The man was taken to NYC Health Elmhurst Hospital. He was listed in serious but stable condition. So this was not fatal. So I don't want to go further into anything else. But let me see if they mention the boy that was subway surfing. That's kind of incident. Yeah, this is the more incident one. See, this is the one that should have got media coverage. The attempted suicide, okay. That's one thing. But this should have got media coverage. I think Pix11 might have covered it, come to think of it. I did see something on their YouTube channel about it. So, if I do find that video, I'll put it in the description below after I upload this, probably later today, because, this should have gotten wide media attention. And, remember, I was on Pix11 maybe a year ago. I had a clip taken from the MTA committee meeting. Again, you're only throwing double whammy. And, February 26th. Right. I mean, I'm sick and tired of hearing that announcement on the 7 train. Run inside. Stay alive. And guess what, folks? I may have to deal with that same announcement early in May when I go to the Macy's Flower Show. So anyhow, let me read this. So this happened... When did this happen? I am so sorry. Why can't I get you an accurate date? I think this happened on March 14th. Yeah, okay. Friday, March 14th, 8:17 a.m. So, according to this, the boy was riding on top of the train. He was struck by another train. Yep, no surprise. So, apparently, this was a Flushing Main Street bound 7 train. Right. And what station did this happen at? I think this might have happened at the 74th Street station. So there you go. I mean, this should have gotten wide media coverage, but it didn't. Because what? The media is tired of talking about it? Like, give me a break. Give me a freaking break, alright? You have an obligation to cover stuff like this. Especially because, again, you know how dangerous this type of behavior is. Right? Maybe it might be a good thing TikTok might get shut down in April. I don't know. Maybe it might be a good thing. Because remember, TikTok might get taken down again in April. So anyhow, let's just get to the last story of the day. Because we actually have some good news. So our final story of the day, and this is a real good one because, again, I really want to thank Charlton DeSouza from Passengers United because this is honestly his project that he has been advocating for. So, there is good news. Finally, station improvements are happening to the Hollis Long Island Railroad Station. Finally, about time. They're gonna put a brand new. They're gonna put 2 brand new elevators, and I think they're also gonna start to work on the Forest Hills elevators in April, from what I was seeing in the committee books. But this is the more important priority. But I still wonder if they're gonna do something about the steps because the steps are just way too steep. I've complained about it. You can look at my videos about Hollis here on the channel, but yes, okay. Let's just read this very quickly. So this is going to be for 2 years, and hopefully, maybe there's another way the funding can occur to get these elevators done. But, yes, the good news is, surprisingly, and I hate to say it because of congestion pricing, beginning tomorrow and continuing through 2027, there's going to be a lot of changes. On weekdays after morning rush hour until approximately 3 p.m., trains will not stop at Hollis or Queens Village in one direction. Because of the track layout, when work is occurring on the westbound track, westbound trains will also not be able to stop at the Elmont UBS Arena station. Later on this year, work and service changes will move to weeknights, Monday through Thursday. There will be no overnight work when there are events at UBS Arena, which could possibly include Islanders Stanley Cup playoff games. So just keep that in mind. As part of our efforts to improve accessibility on the Long Island Railroad, the MTA has announced that they will finally, after years of complaints from Charlton D'Souza himself, they will finally be an elevator to the eastbound platform and a ramp to the westbound platform. So again, hopefully maybe they might replace the steps too, because again, they are way too steep at Hollis. We're also replacing the current 4-car wooden platforms with 8-car concrete platforms equipped with snow melt systems. This will make the station easier to use and reduce delays for all Hempstead Ranch riders. If you are traveling to or from Hollis or Queens Village, Long Island Railroad tickets will be accepted on MTA buses. The train time map will show which trains aren't stopping, but won't show bus alternatives. However, I'll quickly go over them. If you are at the Hollis station, you have the Q2 and the Q3 buses, which will connect you to the 165th Street bus terminal in Jamaica with Hollis Avenue. The Q110 bus also runs along Jamaica Avenue and serves Parsons Boulevard in Jamaica, where you can transfer multiple buses to Jamaica Station. Now, keep this in mind. They are already acknowledging the changes with the Queens Bus Network redesign, because remember, beginning in June, I think it's supposed to be in June if I'm correct. Maybe I'm off, but anytime beginning from June to September, remember, the Q110 bus is not stopping in Queens Village anymore. It's going to go to Floral Park. So anyhow, Q1 and Q36 buses connect the 165th Street bus terminal in Jamaica with Hollis, blah, blah, blah. As far as your train skipping Elmont UBS, folks, I've done this before. It's only a 10-minute walk from Belrose. It's not completely out of the way. And plus, the houses in Belrose are pretty nice. I've seen them myself. It's a quaint little thing when I got to see them, I think, in 2022, if I'm correct. Oh, 3 years already. Look at that. So anyhow, some of these service changes will also affect Hillside Support Facility employees. Okay, there we go. That's very good. Finally, we've been advocating for this for a very long time, all right? Now, to wrap up this video, I want to talk about the traffic in Manhattan from what I saw on February 26th. And congestion pricing might be helping a little bit. I mean, I don't want to admit anything, guys, but let me just show you what I'm talking about. So after the MTA board meeting, I took a little walk, and you saw it in my video a couple weeks ago. The traffic was actually moving on Madison Avenue, believe it or not. There were barely any cars from what I was noticing, and then I went into Grand Central from 45th. But I exited pretty quickly from this exit right here. See right here? Went around there. Right into the Chrysler building. So, I was like, wow. There was less traffic on East 42nd Street by Lexington Avenue when I got back onto the 7 train. It's amazing. It just really, really is. that maybe congestion pricing might be, dampering one thing. But I will mention I'm not happy with the LIE work this week. If you've been on the LIE this past week, you might have noticed that you've gone eastbound by Springfield Boulevard. Yeah, they shut down one lane by exit 29. I mean, really, that's a mess as it is. But the Grand Central Parkway work is a little bit better, despite only having 2 lanes in each direction near the sanitation plant. But yeah, that's what's going on. I had to do this video today because I'm just not going to be in the mood to do it tomorrow. Because again, there's just things in my career that I don't want to talk about with the nursing home that need to be kept off the reps. Please, guys. I mean, you've had the same job for 9 years, and sometimes when people call you out on workplace performance, you need to prioritize that more. Okay, YouTube life, work life. It's how things work, Okay, guys, that's going to wrap it up. That's what's going on. Again, I wish the media would do its job so that way I wouldn't have to do it, but it is what it is, and unfortunately, hence why this video was done today. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching and take care.